Hello and welcome to this spotlight episode on the Limmat, the first locomotive to run in Switzerland in 1847. Limmat was built by Emil Kessler at his workshops at Karlsruhe in the German state of Baden. Kessler had established his workshops in 1837, and his first major order was for the Royal Württemberg State Railway, for whom he built his first locomotive in 1842. Kessler's locomotive designs were inspired by those of the Norris Company in the United States. The Norris Company of Philadelphia had pioneered a mass-produced 420 locomotive nicknamed One-Armed Billy's in the later 1830s. They had an articulated leading bogie, and they used inclined outside cylinders. Norris also adopted the cylindrical dome-topped firebox of Edward Berry. Kessler, whilst retaining the 420 wheel arrangement, modified the Norris design. Instead of American bar frames, Kessler used solid iron plate frames. He also favoured horizontal rather than inclined cylinders, and the square Gothic firebox of Robert Stephenson. Limmat and her sisters are technically Stephenson long boilers, as all the wheels are between the smoke box and the firebox. Limmat was one of 4 identical locomotives built for the Swiss Northern Railway, which ran between Zurich and Bâle. The first 25-kilometre length between Zurich and Baden opened in 1847, running along the Limmat Valley. It rapidly earned itself the nickname of the Spanische Brötliebahn, or Spanish Bread Railway, after a much sought-after confection made in Baden at a bakery alongside the railway station, and these were much sought after by the upper-class residents of Zurich for their breakfast. In working order, Limmat weighed 21 metric tons, had a boiler pressure of 4.9 bar, about 70 psi, and cylinders measuring 362 by 560 millimeters. The driving wheels are 1.5 meters in diameter. Her tender can carry 4 metric tons of water and just over 2 metric tons of wood. She was capable of running at speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour forwards and backwards, and could generate 91 horsepower. Limmat and her sister engine, the Aare, were however seen as underpowered due to having only single driving wheels, which meant that they struggled on hilly sections of the route. Furthermore, they often suffered from broken driving axles due to the excessive weight carried on them. So after a working life of 10 years, in 1857 the two of them were relegated from the main line to working as yard shunters, and replaced on mainline duties with more powerful 440 locomotives. Then, in 1866, Limmat was rebuilt as an 040 tank engine, and was eventually scrapped in 1882. In order to mark the centenary of the opening of the first railway in Switzerland, a working replica of Limmat was built in 1947, using parts of an early locomotive built in 1857, and which had been withdrawn and preserved as long ago as 1902. The replica uses the wheels, cylinders and pistons and other components, including the brass Gothic firebox cover from this 1857 locomotive, together with modern refinements including injectors and a blower. A train of replica coaches were built to run with her, and experience of operating the replica confirmed 19th century reports that Limmat was unsteady at speed, and so balance weights were added to the driving wheels. She is today occasionally steamed, and when she does so with her train of replica coaches, she looks absolutely magnificent. So that's been a quick look at Limmat, the first locomotive to have operated in Switzerland, a locomotive which lives again thanks to a replica built in 1947. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, share and subscribe, and also click the notification bell. If you feel able, you can also support Rail Story on Patreon and get early access to channel content. Finally, I would also like to thank Richard Altorfer for making this video possible, and I look forward to seeing you all next time on Rail Story.